Okay, so we had us a little shootout at the OK Corral yesterday. Last week, rather. We had ourselves a little showdown, a little huge Twitter feud between me and a Mr. Jimmy Snow. If you were somewhere on Twitter last week and you weren't on my timeline, wow, did you ever miss the mark? Why? Because it was the best show in town. All the action was going down on my timeline. It was 2 days worth of, you know, first-rate Twitter feuding melodrama gold. It was awesome. It was really funny. Was it fun? Was it really fun? It was all right. Well, whatever. So what happened? Okay. Now, any of you who have listened to my channel for a while know that there's a certain type of atheist I always talk about. I call a debate me bro atheist. What this guy is, a very common type of atheist, by the way, atheists, you might want to work on this. Okay, very common type. What they basically are on Twitter is a bully, thug, clown, idiot who they usually run in packs, and they're not there to engage. They're usually there only to jump on your timeline, taunt and humiliate the Christian, high five each other. Oh, we nailed him, and move on. Got any evidence for Sky Ferry? You know the drill. Okay, there's a lot of guys like that in the atheist community. They're basically bully thugs. Why do I say they're bullies? They almost always run in dog packs. They almost always dogpile you. One jumps on your timeline, you're usually going to see three. Now, I was involved in not an altercation, I was actually involved in a conversation with John Steingrad. Okay, a lot of you know who that is, about the problem of evil. Some guy, apropos of nothing, jumps onto the thread. Originally, he was going to talk about the problem of evil. He posted a tweet about kids in cancer wards and decided, deleted that and decided he'd be better served by just posting some meme designed to antagonize and or humiliate me, okay? I didn't actually process out the meme too clearly. I didn't really look at it carefully. It was just something about me, the Bible, oral sex, either someone's going down on me or Jesus is going down on me or the Bible. I didn't really analyze the content. I just analyzed the intent. This guy's jumping on my timeline, okay, intending to shock and or antagonize me and then humiliate me rather than engage in the dialogue. Yeah, a bully, correct? A bully, correct? Correct. He was trying, let me say that again. He was trying to antagonize and humiliate me, correct, rather than engage in a dialogue about the problem of evil. If he had something to say about the problem of evil, he would have said so, correct? Everybody clear? Correct. Okay, now, a long time ago, why I say he's a bully is in my experience on Twitter, you see one of those goofball clowns, you're going to see three of them. Why? Because that's how they roll. They come in threes, they come in fives. All bullies are cowards. They never come individually. I've said this about Deconverted Man, okay? I like Deconverted Man. Deconverted Man is not a coward. He always comes one-on-one. Always one-on-one. Bullies always come in packs. That's the secret sauce of the bully, and I learned this a long time ago. I learned this in 10th grade, and the rules of the bully haven't changed in the real world as in Twitter, okay? There's only one way to handle a bully, and that is get right back up in their snout and tell them where to go immediately. People say you should block, you should mute. Okay, the problem with that stratagem, and this is the real problem, is if you do not confront the bully immediately, they never leave you alone. Case in point, this holds true for Twitter too, guys. I swear to God that's true. Case in point, okay, there's this evil little bully creep twerp called Megavolt, right? When I first got on Twitter, I was talking to him on and off for about a year till I decided the guy's a little pig, little bully pig creep. If you think my language is too inflammatory, I hate bullies, guys. I hate them with every fiber of my being. I hate everything about them. Intellectual bullies and bullies. I hate them both. Okay? I think they're disgusting human beings. This little creep Megavolt is only on Twitter to humiliate and antagonize people. That's the only reason he's there. He gets a charge out of doing that. He wants to humiliate and antagonize Christians because they're Christians. I hate people like that. That's why my language is so charged. Okay, I get along with a lot of atheists really well. I can't stand bullies. I can't stand those type of people. And neither should you, the atheist. Why? Because they're a bad look for your entire community. Everybody hates those type of people. And a lot of people think of that as an atheist. I swear to God that's true, guys. A lot of people think of, their first thought of an atheist is some doofus guy who wants to antagonize you and debate with you for no particularly good reason. Got any evidence for your Sky Fairy? Does that ring a bell? Does that sound familiar? Got any evidence? If you maybe present me some evidence. Does that sound familiar? Yeah, it does, Craig. Yeah, in fact, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, it really does. Yeah, I know it does. Because it's the truth. It's called, what you call that again? I called that the truth. So I told that guy immediately, get out of my face, you disgusting freak, something like that. Tagged him. And sure enough, three or four of his pals jumped on the thread too. So I muted him and moved on. Now, Megavolt. Oh, back to Megavolt. Megavolt, okay, I should have told that guy where to go 5 years ago. I didn't. Guess what? 2 weeks ago, he shows up on my timeline. I swear to God. He's like, 5 years ago, you said there was some great revival. And he's trying to taunt and humiliate me 5 years after the fact about a conversation that I have long since forgotten and couldn't care less about. Then I think he shows up in my comment section. Whoever that is in my comment section talking about the great revival, pretty sure you're Megavolt. Why? Because you're the only person I ever talked to about the Great Revival, you stupid little twerp, you evil little pig, you evil little creepy weirdo. Go look at my videos. I got 500 videos, guys. There's not a single solitary video about a Great Revival. And by the way, there may be some sort of Great Revival. As we're speaking, there's something going on somewhere in Texas, or not Texas, Kentucky. Go check it out. I don't know anything about it, but, looks like the Great Revival. There's your Great Revival, Megavolt. Now you can leave me alone and, go F yourself, you evil little creep. So that evil little creep, I didn't tell where to go 5 years ago. That's why he's still there. Why? Because you have to handle a bully immediately. You have to get up in their face and tell them where to go, punch them right smack in the jaw, metaphorically speaking. Other than that, they'll never leave you alone. Why? Because they only understand one language, fear. That's why they're bullies. All bullies are cowards. Did you hear me? That's a really important thing. All bullies are cowards. All bullies are cowards. They only understand one language, fear. And they only punch down. They never punch up, and they always run in packs. Why? Because their agenda is to humiliate and antagonize the weaker. Period. That's why I hate them, guys. And I literally hate them. I despise them. And in real life, okay, you may have gamed this out. I've never really had to deal with bullies in real life. If you can tell by listening to my videos, okay, not exactly small. And I'm not exactly a shrinking wallflower type, okay? I'm 6 feet tall, not huge, and I haven't grown since 7th grade. Not huge, but I was amongst the 3 or 4 biggest guys in my class. And, you can tell by my tone of voice. The bullies who want to antagonize me on my timeline, if they hear my videos, they usually think better of it. Why? You can tell by my tone of voice that I can handle my own. Correct? Correct. Okay, so I've never been bullied in real life. Never. Almost never. No one has ever squared off against me in public. Almost never. Pretty loud, pretty dominating personality. I think you can gather that from my videos. Right? I'm usually people think I'm shouting in real life too. They do. Well, how are you? I'm like hanging out with my friends at a frat party or outside of a dorm room, and they're like, "Why were you shouting all night long? Who were you shouting?" I'm like, "I was having fun." What are you talking about? I wasn't shouting. It sounded to me like you were shouting. People said that to me all the freaking time. Very loud, very dominating personality in real life. So no, I almost never got bullied. Now, story I've told on my videos in the past, but it's worth repeating, okay? This is where I learned to handle a bully a long time ago, 10th grade. I learned the secret sauce of the bully. They're all cowards, okay? So I had 2 levels of friends in high school, the A-level cool kids, the B-level cool kids. Hung out a lot more with the B-level cool kids. Why? We had a lot more in common. Listened to better taste in music, really. Punk rock, we listened to punk rock, Pink Floyd, and we smoked weed all the time, and Led Zeppelin. That's the B-level cool kids. They were just as smart as the A-level cool kids, right? But they all came from broken homes. So they were troublemakers. And, they were a lot more, all of us drank and did drugs and things like that, but we in the B-level cool kid community were a lot more committed to it. We used to do it after school, and we used to do it, we didn't just stick to the weekends like, normal party people. We would go to someone's house after school and start drinking, we'd light up a spleef in the middle of the day. We'd cut a class and light up a bone. That's how we were. That's how we were in high school. Now, the B-level cool kids were small and they were troublemakers. So I often had to bail them out. In high school, I had no real enemies. I have, believe it or not, I actually have a really pretty easy to get along with personality, and I tend to get along with people really, really well. So in high school, I could float in and out of almost every clique, the football players, the whoever's, and everybody knew me to some degree. It's a small town, so I knew everybody in the small town. I knew everybody basically in my school. Now, I did have to bail out my friends upon occasion. Why? Because a lot of times people try to beat them up. So the one time where I really remember the special sauce of the bully, there were 5 guys in my grade who were relatively big, the football players. I think they're all probably bigger than me. Collectively, they could have easily kicked my ass. And they were trying to beat up my friends at a meadow party one night. Now, if none of you know what a meadow party is, there's a movie you can check, Dazed and Confused. It's actually a really pretty good movie. It's the only movie I've ever seen in my entire life, Richard Linklater, that depicts accurately what a high school party looked like. Okay, there's all these cars in a field with a big keg. It was really realistic. I dragged my sister, I saw the movie twice in the movie theater, dragged my sister to see it. It was like, you won't believe this. Why? Because it's so accurate. Driving around in cars, drinking beers, singing, classic rock songs. That's exactly what high school was like for me. That's exactly what high school was like. It was eerily on point. So a meadow party is, you get 2 kegs, you light a big fire in the middle of the field. It's fun. About 150 people from the school come, and you all hang out in the field. Now, these 5 football players are standing by the fire, and I walk up to them, I come walking up to them. They froze. I kid you not. One of me, 5 of them, they froze. I didn't freeze. Why? Because when you confront a bully, they only punch down, they only exploit the weak. Their agenda is to make you a victim. You run and you get scared, and then they keep coming. That's how bullies operate. That's why Megavolt is still on my timeline 5 years later. Why? He thinks I'm the victim. If he keeps coming, he'll realize something. What? He's the victim. You're the victim, Megavolt. You keep coming, you'll see who the victim is. You. Are we clear, Junior? If I have to drag you to a debate and humiliate you in public, I will. You go away, or you'll find out you're the victim, not me. Okay? That is how you handle a bully. You have to smack them around, metaphorically speaking, or they never go away. So I walk up to the 5 football players, all of whom could collectively have kicked my ass. And they froze. Why did they freeze? Because the fear calculation shifts. They're all cowards. So they're going, why on earth is this guy standing up to us? He either knows how to fight like we can't even imagine, or he's got a weapon. That's what they started calculating out differently, because they got scared. I kid you not. I noticed that immediately. They were all scared of me. And there was 5 of them. Why? Because they're cowards. Bullies are always cowards. My dad did that once. There was 5, 6, or 7 of the really tough football players making a lot of noise outside of my 3 in the morning one night on a Friday night, and I hear my dad open the door and go, hey fellas, can you keep it down? One of them goes, fuck you. I swear to God, my dad went, what? Like that, ripped through all of them. They were quiet, and he ran up to 7 of them, and they were terrified. Now, my dad could have probably kicked all their asses. My dad was a tough guy, but they were terrified, and they were the big football players, and they were terrified of him. That's where I learned the calculation. Bullies are cowards. Bullies are always afraid of you. If you confront them, they back down. That's the secret sauce of the bully, guys. Works every single time. You confront them, and they will move on to the next target. Why? Because they're looking for a target. They're not looking for engagement. They're not looking for, a really good conversation about the problem of evil so they can impress you with their knowledge. They're not. They're idiots and cowards and stupid, idiot, cruel imbeciles. They're cruel. That's why I hate them, because they're cruel. They pick on the weak. I hate them. And you should too. Why? Because they're evil. Megavolt is evil. He's an evil little creep. Go dig into his timeline. He's picking on people all the time. I bet you $1,000. Now, the original guy who pointed the meme, bet you $1,000 that guy is a bully round the clock. Bet you anything he's already been suspended from Twitter. Go look. Go look at his meme. You tell me he wasn't intending to shock and to traumatize and antagonize and harass. Because that's what he was trying to do. A bully, Craig. Yeah, a bully. Thank you. Pretty obviously. So, now, where does Jimmy fit in? So Jimmy rolls up. Now, I went on Jimmy's channel, a word about Jimmy Snow. Okay, I went on his channel. Now, in his favor, and he really honestly did this, okay? we had been having a little back and forth between us for about 2.5 days. And he literally, when he keeps saying to come on my channel, he started out tauntingly, but then he was like, come on my channel, I think it will go okay. He gave me my own personal line to call, my own number. In private, he starts saying very conciliatory, very like nice things like, I understand this can be, you can get nervous doing this. I think this could go well. I want to, if we can, I want to come to some type of peaceful resolution, something like that. Something really, really conciliatory and nice and accommodating. So I was impressed, actually. I actually started to go, wait a minute. He was trying to convince me when we were talking on Twitter that he has a lot of friends who are Christians too. Originally, I didn't believe him. I thought he was just a type of atheist, certain type of atheist who just hates you by virtue of being a Christian. Okay, he was friends with Shannon. I did know that for a fact. Okay, now Shannon, a word about Shannon. Shannon demonstrated in this particular altercation really, really, really first-rate, really good character. Okay, Shannon is more friends with Jimmy than she is with me, and she has a lot more skin in the game with Jimmy than she does with me. She streams on his platforms and things like that. But she basically said, I love you both. None of my friends have to like each other. I was really impressed with that character-wise. I thought that showed great character. Now, Shannon is, of all the people in the atheist community, probably the only one who's a team player, which means she's on the atheist side 100%, but who actually usually bends over backwards to make sure that the Christian is heard, to make sure that you feel validated, to make you feel comfortable talking to her. She doesn't try to, what does she not try to do? She doesn't try to mislead you. She doesn't try to steamroll you. She doesn't put words in your mouth. She tries to make sure that you are heard on your end of the conversation. She usually bends over backwards to do it, and she does it really, 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 really well. Okay? Jimmy, amazingly, I will report, is somewhat Shannon-esque. I couldn't believe it. He was actually being really nice and really gracious. And when I went on the channel, okay, he had his point of view. I accept that. But he let me be heard, first off. Okay, I was there for an hour. Now, my understanding of these shows, this could be wrong, but my understanding is that's a really long time to give somebody on a show like that. Generally, it's about a half hour at the most, 40 minutes at the most, and they start trying to get you off. So he had me right at the top of the broadcast. He cut his intro so I could come on quickly. Okay, he gave me a special line so I wouldn't have to wait. I mean, it was really accommodating, really gracious of him. I really got to tell you the truth. So that impressed me round the boards. I was like, wait, maybe Shannon is friends with Jimmy for the right reason. Maybe Jimmy is, more Shannon than he is what I thought he was. Maybe he's just actually kind of cool. So I was impressed with all of that. Even if Jimmy may have another context where he, antagonizes Christians for no reason, which he may still be doing on Twitter. I don't know if that's actually how he rolls. I'm not sure. I didn't investigate his timeline too deeply. But he definitely has a side that is Shannon-esque, where he actually went out of his way to make me feel comfortable so that I could plead my case, the best case that I could plead to the best of my ability. He didn't need to do that. Rare is the atheist who will do that. He did not need to do that. Rare is the atheist who will do that. So he went out of his way. Remember, we were in a feud. So he had there was conflict between us. I would never expect him to do that, period, to any Christian, but certainly not a Christian that he was conflicting with. So he gave me the opportunity to plead the best case scenario for my side. Now, I was really impressed with that. I think that shows character. I really do. I really do. So whatever other the context about Jimmy Snow, in that particular instance, he was gracious and accommodating. He didn't need to be. And he went out of his way to make me feel, safe and comfortable when we were about to have what he thought was a conflict. Now, all of that I judge accordingly as really big points in his favor. I really do. Part of the goal, okay, let's get to the goal. Why'd you tag everybody, Craig, you stupid idiot? All right, we're not there yet. Hold on. That's a part of it. Okay, part of the goal of tagging everybody was I thought Jimmy, I'll plead, okay, Jimmy made a case that he was not the bully. Now, here's his case that he is not the bully, and I bought it. Okay, call me a sucker, Craig. No, I don't think I'm a sucker. He snowed you. Jimmy Snow, remember? That's his name, Craig. No, he didn't snow me. Here is his case why he was not the bully. And I buy it. First of all, he told me The only things that I think made him potentially a bully is that he has a much bigger channel than I have. Okay, he's got 300,000 subscribers. Most of you know I'm too big to fail. I am. But I really don't have very many subscribers to demonstrate the case yet. I'm about 600 or so. I don't even remember how many I have, but not very many. So the power dynamic is dramatically in his favor. Now, here's what he said. And I buy this. I think this is legit. Okay? But he also did make me feel safe and accommodated to, but I bought it. He said to me on Twitter, first of all, I don't take Twitter that seriously. That's what I heard. He doesn't take it that seriously. Granted. Okay? Then he says he doesn't have that big of a following on Twitter. He tweets like something and he'll get like 5 retweets. Okay, granted, that made sense to me too. Then he said he didn't really investigate the context of who I was. He thought the issue was purity culture and that I was shocked and outraged by, how dare you say these shocking things about our Lord and Savior or something like that. Or how dare you say he thought I was grabbing the smelling salts about the content of the meme, which I didn't really look at, to tell you the truth. I was upset about the intent of the meme, and I wasn't shocked, I was mad. There's a big difference. I wasn't shocked and outraged. So shocked that it ain't this, wasn't shocked. Okay, so he said this to me on air, and this made sense to me. So he said, you think that's shocking, hold my beer. And then he doubles down, says something like, Jesus, come, something like that. I don't remember the exact words. That made sense to me. Now, from his point of view, and this also makes sense to me, his tone was not malicious, it was impish. He was trying to be funny, and his target wasn't Craig Reed, this stupid Christian, and he wasn't signaling to his audience to dogpile, because that's the charge that I was laying, that he has a big audience, and he was saying, here, everyone harass this guy for the next 3 hours. Something like that. Now, he said he doesn't have a big audience following on Twitter, and people wouldn't do that. Okay, I buy that. And he said his tone was mischievous and playful, and his target was purity culture, not particularly me, Craig Reed. I buy all of that. That all makes sense to me. Now, so what he is saying is he came as comedian and provocateur. He came as a provocateur. He came to provoke, and he came to take on purity culture, a big target, not Craig Reed, a small target. I buy that. To some degree, I buy that. You can process that out, whether that's wise or that's all correctly analyzing. That's up to you. But is that the intent in the situation? Yeah, that makes complete sense to me. Because that's why he was saying some of the things he was saying. Like, I'm tattling on him. I was like, tattling? Where on earth are you getting that from? This isn't your dad, dude. This is like your peers. You're supposed to hold people accountable to their peers. By the way, Caitlin Chloe, you on a different timeline, you're literally trying to hold Alex J. O'Connor or his audience accountable. I don't get why it's wrong of me to try and hold Jimmy Snow accountable, but it's right of you to do it. It doesn't make any sense. Seems somewhat disingenuous, no? Yeah, Craig. yeah, I would think so. But so Jimmy came as provocateur and clownish imp, as comedian. Now, I accept that. I cut comedians a much wider berth. Like, let's say he was coming as, who's the guy who used to do Politically Incorrect? Bill Maher. Okay, a lot of times people get shocked and offended by Bill Maher. I don't. He's a comedian, and he's trying to be provocative. I grant someone a much bigger berth to be provocative as a comedian, and apparently everybody knows he's a comedian. That's his role on Twitter. Okay, granted. I didn't know any of that. I didn't know anything about Jimmy all that much prior to this engagement. I assumed he was just kind of one of these, like, humiliate the Christian thugs. I assumed that. It appears not to be the case. He was telling me he has good relationships with a lot of Christians. At first, I didn't believe him. After he treated me on air, I 100% believe him. I knew he had some relationship with God is Gray. So if you want to investigate on your own, go look at the streams with him and God is Gray. I'm sure he's 100% respectful to her. And there are probably other Christians there that have been on his show that he's been respectful to. I'll ask him at some point. I'm pretty sure that will be the case. Why? Because he was really cool to me on air, guys. I can't stress this enough. He was really cool to me on air. I did not object about his on-air behavior at all. He let me speak. He didn't try to mislead me. He didn't try to put words in my mouth. He didn't gaslight me. He let me say my own case in my own words, I was totally fine with how he was on air, and he went out of his way to make me feel comfortable ahead of time. All of that counts in his favor. If the goal was to hold him accountable, okay, some of holding him accountable is if he's doing some things right, which he's doing some things right, then I say, look, he's doing some things that are good. Correct? Correct. So he came as imp and trying to make fun of Provoke about purity culture. That makes sense to me. That does. That makes sense to me. Now, a word about purity culture, because I read some of the comments in the comment section, and it was really strange. A lot of his audience didn't believe me that I wasn't shocked and outraged about the content of the meme. It was the intent of the meme. They didn't buy that. That's really strange. So let me say a word about purity culture, and then we'll wrap it all up in a pretty little package, and that'll be the end of it. I was not raised Christian. I tried to explain this to Jimmy on air. I don't know if he fully processed this out, if this was clear. I didn't become a Christian until I was 29 years old. Prior to me becoming a Christian in high school, I was a stoner party guy. You know, everybody knows who he was, the underachiever, was friends with everybody. Yo, Craig Reed's so cool, man. You light up a spleef with Craig Reed, that guy. That's who I was. That's pretty obvious, right? Okay, stoner party guy, smoke weed with my friends all the time, go out drinking Friday, Saturday night till 3 in the morning. That was me in high school. In college and later, I was basically kind of a urban hipster, punk rock type. I go hang out with my friends in the city. If I tell you the bands I listened to, you almost immediately understand what type of person I was. I went to see the Red Hot Chili Peppers, went to see Public Enemy, went to see the Replacements. Most of you won't know who that is. That's a very underrated punk band from the Midwest. Paul Westerberger is actually one of the really killer lyricists. God, what a mess on the ladder of success. Take one step and miss the whole first rung. Dreams unfulfilled, graduate unskilled. Beats picking cotton, waiting to be forgotten. We are the sons of no one, bastards of young. Killer track, killer lyrics, a very underrated punk band. Honest to God, check them out. They're really good. Grab your favorite lampshade. Somewhere there's a party. Here it's never ending. Can't remember when it started. Song about alcoholism. Killer band, guys. Honest to God. Who else did I go see? De La Soul. Anyone remember them? Cool, kind of a cool, funky hip hop act from back in the day. Third Base. Very underrated rap act. Brooklyn, Queen. Very underrated. So you get the type of person I was, okay? There was an album from Jane's Addiction. I don't know if anyone remembers the band back in the day, titled Nothing's Shocking. Literally nothing was shocking to me. Literally nothing. I have dated strippers, guys. Hello? Purity culture, okay? I've dated strippers, people. I swear to God. Me and my friend Jen Salerno used to go to this place called Jimmy's Topless. No joke, Jimmy's Topless. That was the name of the place. Like a seedy topless bar in Manhattan, just to have drinks just for the goof. Okay, so no, it wasn't a purity culture thing. I can't even process that out the way other Christians process that out. I understand that other Christians get tripped out about that stuff. That's not what my issue was. It was not, how dare, and I can't stress this enough. My integrity is rock solid, guys. If it were really an issue about the content of the meme, and my issue was, Jimmy, you mustn't post memes like that, Jimmy. If that were the issue, I would have argued that case on air. That's what would have been my point on air. He was giving me the platform to state my case. Okay? If that were my issue, I would have said, Jimmy, mustn't post things like that, Jimmy. You want to, that wasn't the issue. My issue was I thought he was joining in on a bully dog pile. That was my issue. And I was trying to hold him accountable to that. That's the accountability that I was trying to get. Now, I buy his end of it, that's not what he saw happening. First of all, he was punching up. His target was purity culture, not specifically Craig Reed. That makes sense to me. A lot of times it's hard to process this out correctly because some of these people come from the Bible Belt, which he doesn't, but he comes from probably a family of Mormons, correct? He was a Mormon, which means he can't see himself as the bigger platform because he's still in a culture where he's the smaller voice. That's my guess. He's the bigger platform in YouTube, but he's the smaller voice in the culture at large. The atheist versus, I guess Mormon's a pretty small voice, but he's probably connecting atheist Christian. Now, anything more left to say along those lines? I think that explains it. So no, purity culture isn't a thing where I come from. You have to work really, 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 really hard to have me outraged by the outrage du jour. Everyone, I swear to God, remember that Sam Smith, acts like the devil on the Grammys or something like that, and everyone's freaking out about it? I barely noticed it. Yeah, I saw it, and I was like, okay, whatever. Why do I care? I don't. What am I supposed to care about exactly here? Something? Oh, he's dressed like the devil? Oh, I'm shocked. He was literally trying to, a part of that whole satanic panic, and a lot of times it's a marketing gimmick. Remember the band Van Halen? A really quality heavy metal act, correct? Correct. Okay. They have a song, Running with the Devil. Everyone knows the song. Why on earth do they have that song? As a marketing gimmick. Black Sabbath was a devilish band. AC/DC was a devilish band. Why did Van Halen have a song, Running with, it's one of their worst songs, by the way, I hate that song. Running with the devil. Yeah, of course you hate that song, you Christian, because you're so weak and so afraid of, I hate that song because it's a terrible song. They have some killer tracks. Listen to, Ain't Talking About Love. Van Halen has some really good songs, underrated metal act as far as I'm concerned. But that's a conversation for another day. Why did they make a song, Running with the Devil? As a marketing ploy. They don't worship the devil. They're not a devil act. They wanted to cash in. Hello? A lot of bands were doing that at the time. A lot of bands signed on to like a devil song or two. Why? So they could shock the parents. Oh my God, it's so shocking. That's not how I roll, guys. I swear to God. I was listening to, really, really hardcore stuff. Way, way more. A lot of people, people will probably know NWA. I really used to like NWA. I still kind of do. NWA is pretty good, actually. I won't sing it on air. Everyone's sick of me singing. But no, it's not a purity culture thing at all. It's really, really hard to outrage me by the outrage du jour. I just don't process reality that way. I was trying to explain the thing to Jimmy. My wife, one of my favorite songs is still DRE by Dr. Dre. It is now one of my wife's favorite songs. It's on her ringtone. Okay, originally, I couldn't get her to listen to it. Why? She got tripped out by all the curses. I was like, curses? What? What curses? Cursing? I didn't hear it. I didn't even hear it. My friends and I, when we were talking back in the day, it was like a Martin Scorsese flick. I swear to God, F came out of her mouth every third word. You go to the effing store to get some effing smokes? No, man, F that. I'm too effing tired today. MFers in that store anyways. That's literally how we used to talk. That is literally how we used to talk, I promise. So no, it's not a purity culture thing. I don't care that Jimmy made an off-color joke about our precious Lord and Savior. And that if I had cared about that, that's what I would have argued on his show, okay? What I thought was, and I don't think anymore, was that he was joining a pile-on to try and antagonize and humiliate the Christian for no particularly good reason. Now, just a word about that, and then we'll be done with it, and that'll be all. Then we'll sign off. Even if that is his MO on Twitter, I don't care, okay? I'm not in this thing to police Jimmy Snow or care about how he acts on Twitter in general. I can't stress this enough. I only care about how he acts towards me, period. End of discussion. I don't care. If he's doing that to other Christians, that's why I tagged in some atheists, because some atheists do care. They want atheists presented correctly and they want the best foot forward. Shannon is actually one of those type of people. It's her term, elevate the dialogue. Her term, not mine, hers, elevate the dialogue. So she cares how atheism is being presented out there in Twitter and in YouTube. I don't. I care how you act towards me, period. And I only judge you on one criteria. If you're cool with me, I'm cool right back. No exceptions, 100 times out of 100. Friday Night Jimmy was cool to me. And guess what? I was cool right back. If he's cool to me again, I'll be cool right back. I'll gladly go back on his channel. And we can talk about purity culture if you want to. I doubt Jimmy's listening. He's busy, got a lot of stuff to do. We could talk about purity culture if you want to, Jimmy, or religious experience. I'd happily come back on your channel anytime. I thought you were gracious and gentlemanly, and he can be really charming, actually. I really liked him. To some degree, I got along with him really well. He's very Shannon-esque. I know that sounds surprising, but he is. I call it as I see it. I call it exactly as I see it, guys. He was very Shannon-esque. It's really, really rare to have an atheist go out of your way to make you feel like that on their channel. Usually, they try to steamroll you. They try to put words in your mouth. Look at Pine Creek Doug. Pine Creek Doug, hello, anyone? He tries to lead you in the direction that he wants you to go. Answer only the questions that I present and go this way so I can make you look stupid. He didn't do any of that. A lot of atheists do that. Here, answer these questions so I can, paint you into a corner and make you look like an idiot. He didn't do any of that. And he had a pretty good reason to try to do that. He didn't do that at all. To let me speak completely in my own words. Didn't misrepresent me. Didn't misrepresent what I said. It gave me a really fair hearing in a situation where I was not expecting him to be quite honest with you. So, that all in his favor. Now, the one last thing. Okay, tagging everybody on Twitter. It's dumb. Tactically, it's stupid. I don't think it's the wrong thing to try and hold somebody accountable. I really don't. If someone is being a bully, I think you can hold them to a jury of their peers. Jimmy made clear to me that he doesn't care what other atheists thinks. I buy that too. He's in the process of doing something different with his channel than has already been. It's morphing into something. It's a little bit more political these days. I get that there's something going on with him that's in transition. He's transitioning out of atheism the way it used to be presented into something kind of creative and kind of new and innovative, to tell you the God's honest truth. I think it's going to be something good. Judging from my experiences with him, I like him. I really honestly do. I thought he was cool to me. I really do. He's not quite Shannon. He's not that cool and that, holy and awesome. That perfect. He landed on this. She's the share of atheism, guys. The share of atheism. He's not quite Shannon, but he's pretty Shannon-esque. He was pretty nice to me. Now, tagging everybody is stupid. Why is it stupid? Because nobody cares. And nobody's going to investigate. It looked to everybody like I was just being a little baby. Look, Jimmy said naughty words. Everyone look. Because that's what most of his audience said. Look, this guy's caterwauling. Look at this little crybaby bitch talking about, that's how everybody else saw it. Because, you have to really dig in to see how I saw it. And I understand that it's Twitter. It's not a good idea because, if I got tagged into a Twitter feud, I'm going to give it maybe 5 minutes of my time at best case scenario. I'm going to give it 5 minutes. It really would probably take an hour to unpack that properly at this point, at least. Because you have to go all the way back to the beginning, and then you need to know background story and stuff. So I am not opposed, and this could be discussed. People could have differences of opinion about this. I don't think tagging people, or I don't think trying to hold people accountable to other atheists is the wrong thing to do. I don't think it's tattling. That's what Jimmy and Caitlin kept saying. I was tattling on them. No, I don't think that's tattling. And Caitlin, it's disingenuous of you. Why? Because you do the exact same thing. So you're allowed to hold other atheists accountable, but I'm not. I don't buy that. Jimmy doesn't seem to care about holding people accountable. I buy that. That's not his thing. He does his thing, and his thing, he has his thing, and it's popular. I get why it's popular. He's a pretty talented broadcaster, actually. I was surprised to find that. I thought he was going to be like a goofy, no talent idiot, and he wasn't. I was like, he was pretty witty and engaging, and he was could talk really. That guy could talk probably for 3 hours straight. I bet you $1,000 he could just stream for 3 hours straight and just talk the whole time, just like me. I bet you $1,000 he can. I bet you he has to stop and pull himself away to keep from, dominating the conversation and telling all these stories and jokes, just like me. I swear to God, I bet you anything he has to dial it back in public. That's how I am in public, okay? When I'm out with my wife, I have to dial it down, or I can dominate the entire conversation and just tell stories and jokes all night, and I become the center of attention. I can do it really easily in my sleep. I bet you he's the same way. I bet you he can run a stream for 3 hours and talk the entire time. I bet you $1,000 he can. Because he went that stream 3 hours, right? He's talented. That guy has, watch him and Shannon, because that's the new face of atheism. That's where atheism is headed. I swear to God, I bet you anything that is. Because if atheism around in 10 years, it's going to morph. And it's not going to be about arguments for God or any of that. Most people don't actually care about that. They really don't. I do. Some atheists do. Most people don't. Whatever he's turning atheism into, that's what it's going to become. That guy has actually got some talent. There's some real talent there. That's the first impression I got. Wait, this guy can talk for hours, and he can plead his case up and down and keep going. He's a really good talker. I bet you. Were you a salesman, Jimmy? If he was a salesman, he'd be great at it. It's very Shannon-esque. Very much similar to my wife, too. My wife is the same way. So I had a good experience overall with him. No hard feelings about the Twitter feud. If you missed the Twitter feud, it was awesome. It was fun. everything you ever wanted in Twitter melodrama and then some. It was great. It really was. It was great Twitter drama. If Twitter drama is not your thing, whatever. We got other stuff going on. So that's that. I doubt we'll ever have a problem again. I will gladly go on your channel again. I doubt Jimmy's listening. It seems like he's really busy. Shannon came out a winner, as usual. She was gracious to me, and she didn't need to be. That showed really good character. Shannon goes out of her way to have peace with Christians. Everybody should be like Shannon. That is the way to engage with people who you don't agree with, the way Shannon does. Jimmy is learning from Shannon, and he is somewhat Shannon-esque. That is my take. And I don't care how he treats Christians in general. I care how you act towards me. I do not judge you based on anything you do out there. I don't know if you're an atheist or Christian. I don't care. If you're cool to me, I'm cool right back. You start something with me, I fight back. It's that simple. And it's never going to be anything other than. It's never going to be anything other than. You see me get into a conflict with somebody, I kept saying to Jimmy, you're on my timeline, meaning you're in my face, not the other way around. Okay? You never see me jump on someone's timeline and start stuff with them. Why? Because that's not what I'm here to do. It's not. It's not what I'm about. And I consider when you're tagging me on my timeline, you're literally in my face. That's what's going on. So you are the one who wants the conflict, whatever is going on between us. You're the one choosing it. I'm not. And I never look for conflict. Never. Really easy to get on my good side. Jimmy found that. Well, just be cool. He was cool to me. Guess what? It was cool right back. It's that simple. So Jimmy has a cool side. I think he's going places in terms of a broadcaster. It struck me as a lot more talented than I thought he was going to be. Struck me as like, that guy can talk for 3 hours straight on almost every topic and be entertaining and engaging. Any of his fans in the audience, does that sound legit? Because that's how I read it while I was there. That's how I got him. That's how I read it. And if Shannon's in his wheelhouse, then he's going to have some game. He's going to build up the right people in the community to get the right people and build a program that'll probably be pretty good. And I don't think his agenda is, he heard atheist experience differently than I meant it. I don't think his agenda is actually, let's debate and make the Christian look stupid. You got any evidence? I don't think that's going to be his agenda. I think it's more cultural than that. So we'll see. Anyways, that is all for now, kids. Another fun little adventure bites the dust. There you have it. Mass has ended. My take. Mass has ended. 42 minutes, not terrible. That's short by Craig Reed video standards. Only 1 or 2 songs. I apologize. There you have it, kids. That is all for now. Mass has ended. Go in peace. Amen.